Hello, Brigadiers and Brigadettes. Welcome, Blue Jackets fans and hockey fans alike. I am your captain speaking. Welcome to the podcast, and let's dive into some hockey content. Alright, I hope everybody had a good week. Let's see what the topics are for today. So, the first topic, which literally fell right into my lap, I was so excited to even be able to talk about this, is the possibility of our Columbus Blue Jackets getting Patrik Laine. That is crazy. We'll talk about that a little bit more. But the next topic that we're going to talk about after that is the Stanley Cup Finals and the breakdown of those two, formats that we're going to talk about, which will be Game 1, which we'll talk about by itself, and then Games 2 through 4, because they are totally different games. Obviously, Dallas won Game 1, Tampa Bay won Games 2 through 4, and then finally we're going to wrap it up with some league news. So, with that being said, let's jump into that juicy hockey content. Alright, so at the beginning of the week, I was thinking about this podcast, and I was thinking, I don't have any more Blue Jackets news to talk about for the next podcast, which is episode 5. So I'm thinking, alright, I'm going to have to move on and do some different stuff. And this juicy story falls right into my lap. So, apparently the Winnipeg Jets don't want to have Patrik Laine on the team. They're not actively looking to shop him out and get him out of Winnipeg, but they are listening to offers. So, should the Columbus Blue Jackets trade for Patrik Laine? Maybe. And here's my reasoning. I would definitely trade to get him, but I'd be careful that it wouldn't be at the cost of the team. I don't know what Winnipeg would want, but he's obviously a very good player. I know he's had some ups and downs in his career. You know, that type of guy, that type of player usually will. So I definitely think we should try to kick the tires, per se, but I'm not sure that I would just give away anything and everything that Winnipeg would want us to give. So, be very cautious and, worry about the future of the team as well. But let's take a look into Patrik Laine's career. First of all, I just wanted to say this. How cool would it be to have Patrik Laine, the number 2 pick in the 2016 NHL draft, right next to Pierre-Luc Dubois, the number 3 pick of the NHL draft in the 2016 draft? That would be so cool. I mean, honestly, I'd be really stoked. But anyway, let's move into Patrik Laine's stats. So, Patrik Laine is a right winger, number 29 for the Winnipeg Jets. And let's look at those career stats. Like I said, there were 138 goals in his career as of right now, 109 assists, 247 points, 305 games played, 0.81 points per game. Year 1 took the league by storm. He scored 36 goals, he had 28 assists, and 64 points in 73 games played for 0.88 points per game. And then in the year 2, he, kept it going. He scored more goals than he did in year 1. He had 2 less assists, but he played a few more games, so that was a little bit worrisome because we see that he might not necessarily be a playmaker in the year 2, but more of just a goal scorer. So in year 2, like I said, 44 goals, 26 assists, and 70 points in 82 games played for 0.85 points per game. Again, we can see that he's very talented and he's somebody that any team would love to have. He's a very young player on a pretty affordable contract right now. But then year 3 rolls around, and this is where the worry starts to happen. Laine is a very hot and cold type player. Laine will have these stretches where he'll score, in one game I'm pretty sure he scored 5 goals in a game, which is insane. But the problem is these cold stretches that Laine hits is, it's pretty bad, and it can stretch on for literally months. So, like I said, year 3 rolls around, this is where the concerns start to come in for Laine. He gets 30 goals in year 3. Really good, but we have to remember, there was a stretch where I'm pretty sure it was either 20 or 24 of his goals came within like a month of games. And then there was just that crazy cold stretch. He had 20 assists, which were the lowest in his career up to that point, for 50 points on the season with 82 games played. So, he averaged 0.61 points per game that season. That was the lowest of his career. And, the sky's falling down. He had a minus 24 if you're, somebody that focuses on plus minus. I don't. For a series, I will look at it and see what the problem could be. But I will say that for the course of the season, it's not necessarily an important stat. I really do like the plus minus for series though. So I will just say that to take into account, if you look at plus minus, look at it for a series because it's probably going to tell more of a true story than the whole season. Anyway, So the sky's falling down. Laine is just, oh, he's a failure. He's a bust, blah, blah, blah. I think that's a little bit of a overreaction, but it seemed like for some reason, everybody seemed to think that it was just done and Laine was over with, and he was unplayable because his defensive skill was just, he's a poor defensive player, and we all know that. And a lot of people are saying, oh, the eye test this year. Well, yeah, the eye test works sometimes, but overall his stats were poor on the defensive end. But I will say this, year 4 comes around, and he rebounds nicely offensively. He has 28 goals, 35 assists, which were a career high. The previous high before that was 28 in 73 games played. So he got 35 in 68 games played, which was less games, more assists. So he's a better playmaker. And if anybody says, well, how many of those were secondary? Let's be honest, guys. Come on. If you're getting any assist, it means that you're moving the puck around. And so that was really nice. So he had 63 points in 68 games played. And he had 0.93 points per game. It was a very good season. It was a very good rebound for Laine. The defensive worries are still there, but overall, you can see that offensively he can still provide what you need. And I think the thing that I love about Laine is he doesn't miss games. He's already had 2 seasons where he's played 82 games. And this year, he probably would have had at least 75 games played easily, if not 80. I don't know how many games he missed exactly, but there's still like 10 games left in the season. That would have been 78 games played. I think he would have cracked 75 points for the second time in his career. Actually, the first time, excuse me. So, I think the thing that we need to talk about is his shooting percentage, because that's the thing that's a little bit worrisome. So, in year 1, he had a shooting percentage of 17.6%. That's amazing. If you look at the league average, usually it hovers around 10 to 11% on the year. 17.6% is amazing. I couldn't look at where that was ranked in the league, because if you go by percentage-wise, if you have somebody that, shoots one time in a game they play, if they get called up in the AHL, that gives them 100% shooting percentage. So it was just a disaster. I couldn't go off of that. For shots, he was ranked tied 54th for Nikolai Ehlers, for 204 shots. And then year 2 rolls around, and he's got an 18.3% shooting percentage, and that is amazing. You love to see it. He had 241 shots, and that was tied 30th with Jamie Benn and Eric Stahl. He really likes to fire away. He doesn't have a problem with it. That 30th for the rankings with him being tied with Benn and Stahl, it's really a lot closer than you think. It's just once you get a few guys towards the top, they'll get grouped together, so he likes to fire it away. So year 3, this is where we see the steep decline, and that is, it goes down from, his shooting percentage, that is, goes down from 17.6% in year 1 and 18.3% in year 2, down to 12.2%. So he basically falls down to being a league average shooter. The problem is he's tied 21st with Johnny Gaudreau with 245 shots. He's still firing away. He's still letting loose, but the shooting percentage has gone down. Now this year, I think the thing that might have covered up for his shooting percentage in year 4, which was 12.4%, which again is about a little bit, just barely above league average, is that he had more assists. But this year he was tied 14th with Brendan Gallagher with 226 shots on goal. The thing is with Laine is a shooter, and he's going to keep firing away. And I think the worry is that because he's such a poor defensive player, that if he's not providing those goals, then there is a little bit of a concern. I think that obviously, if he can actually start becoming more of a playmaker and getting, maybe 40 assists every year, and then getting easily 30 goals, I think there's no reason Laine shouldn't be a 30-goal per season type guy, then I think that will definitely cover up the defensive woes. But I think that really he could probably get 90 points on a season. 50 goals is not out of the question for Laine. Very good player, very young player, very exciting player. My worry is that if we trade away some of our defensive depth to get him, Laine is pretty bad defensively. We would start giving up more goals, and I'm not sure if we have exactly the right playmakers to benefit Laine. I think on that first line, we could obviously have him there, and we could have him and Dubois, and Werenski and Jones. That'd be pretty impressive. I'm not sure we'd put on left wing. We could fidget around with that a little bit. Obviously, you wouldn't have everybody on one line. That could be problematic because we struggle to score. But that right there, I think, would help him out. I don't know. Obviously, it's something that's a gamble because Laine is a RFA, restricted free agent, after the 2020-2021 season. And he's got a cap hit of $7.5 million next year. That is definitely, I don't know the right word actually right now. It's, it's capable of being done to get him. Obviously, the worry would be that other teams would offer crazy money and we would have to bite the bullet and try to cover it and match whatever they offer. So, at the end of the day, I'm not exactly sure what I would say would be the right call for trading Laine. I would say Jarmo has got a lot of heavy decision-making to do within the next few days. But if we could get Laine and not give up something that's so unreasonable, I think it would be so beneficial for the team. Maybe a sign-and trade to get everybody, for the Jets and the Blue Jackets happy. Because if we know what we're going to have Laine for in the next few years, that'd be great. My worry is that he played relatively well this year, and I think he'll want a lot of money. And right now, with the cap being probably stuck where it is for the next few years, that's something we should worry about. But again, I'm not going to throw around mock trades because they can be problematic, and some of them are really, unrealistic. And Laine is a good player, but I'm not going to give up, the whole house, the kitchen sink, everything for him. I don't know what the asking price will be for Laine, but I would be so stoked if we got him as long as it was for a reasonable price. So that's the Laine talk. Now we're going to move into the breakdown of the Stanley Cup Finals. Alright, before we start talking about the Stanley Cup Finals and the breakdown, I just want to say, Stars fans, do you feel uncomfortable watching Anton Khudobin try to play the puck a lot? Because he makes me so uncomfortable and feel so anxious. Markstrom for the Canucks does it, Jacob Markstrom, and I don't like how he plays the puck a lot. Let the defenseman touch it. The Blue Jackets, Corpy and Mersey, Elvis, they don't do it as much, and I rarely actually see them go out of their net when I watch them. And I just think that it makes me really uncomfortable because he gets in a lot of bad situations, and I think Khudobin is obviously a very good goalie, but he is putting the Stars in a few bad positions. But anyway, we're going to break down the series overall, how it's gone so far through 4 games, and then we're going to break down how the games have played out when Dallas has won in Game 1, and then how the games have broken down when Tampa has won Games 2 through 4. So overall, Dallas's Corsi is 44.93%. And if you don't know what that means, it basically means that they would have the lowest Corsi in the league behind Detroit, which Detroit's regular season Corsi was 45.79. So they're getting killed when it comes to, shots and all that kind of measure in, the offensive zone. Tampa's just dominating that. And Tampa's Corsi is 55.07 in the playoffs currently. That would be first in the league, which the regular season leader for that was Carolina at 54.01%. So Tampa's just dominated in terms of Corsi, which, is just shots on net, maybe misses, stuff like that. And I think that's a big worry for Dallas because Corsi usually decides who's going to win. And right now, if you're Dallas and you're hanging out with Detroit, that's a problem, whereas Tampa's hanging out with Carolina in terms of their percentages. The shots for in the series are 134 for Tampa Bay. And then, that can't be right. No, it is right. All right, excuse me. I got a little bit caught up there. So Tampa Bay has 134 shots for in 4 games. That's 33.5 shots per game. And that would be third in the league behind Vegas and Montreal. Vegas, I was expecting them to be towards the top end. Montreal, I was really surprised that they were up there. The thing is, they gave up a lot of shots too, so that makes sense. And then Dallas is being outshot 134 to 103. They are averaging 25.75 shots per game. That would be 31st, again behind Detroit. Do we not see the problem here? Dallas is hanging out with the bottom feeders right now, and Tampa Bay is looking great against Dallas. The scoring chances for are 107 for Dallas and 105 for Tampa Bay. I wasn't expecting that at all. I really wasn't. Dallas has got better, or I guess more scoring chances. Dallas has 45 high danger chances for their scoring, and then Tampa leads it by 3 with 48. Kind of a surprise there that it was that close. What it really comes down to in this series is Dallas is 1 for 14 on the power play. That's 7%. Yikes, that is so bad. whereas Tampa Bay is 6 for 15. That's 40%. They are absolutely killing them on the power play right now. Dallas has got to get this together. If they even want to make it to go to Game 7, I don't even know if they can take it to Game 6. They got to stop Tampa on the power play. And Stars fans, again, I want Tampa Bay to lose and I want Dallas to win, but I just don't think it's going to happen. So we're going to talk about Game 1, when Dallas won. And, Dallas is probably the luckiest team right now in the playoffs, because even though they won in Game 1, when I give you these stats, it's going to just make you feel so, I guess, shocked that Dallas even won this game. So we're going to talk about, like I said, Game 1 when Dallas won the game. So Dallas's Corsi in Game 1, it was so bad. It was 39.84. Again, Detroit's was like 45.7% in the regular season. Tampa Bay's Corsi in the game was 60.16%. Dallas's shots for in the game were 20. And Tampa Bay had 36 shots. They're getting outshot 36-20 in Game 1. Now, the weird thing is, Dallas had more scoring chances with 28, whereas Tampa Bay only had 26 scoring chances. And then the weird thing as well is that Dallas had more high danger chances with 12, whereas Tampa only had 8. The power play, 0 for 2 for Dallas. You got to take advantage. You got to get at least one power play goal against the Lightning. I know they're a good team, but, a power play is a gift, like I've said it before, and I'll say it a million times. A power play is a gift, especially against a really good team. Take advantage of those gifts. Now, Tampa Bay was 0 for 3. This is the only time in the series that Tampa Bay has not scored on the power play. And if you're Dallas, you cannot let them run wild on these power plays, because you're going to lose these games. And honestly, the wild thing is I guess if Dallas had stopped Tampa from scoring on the power play, they'd be fine, and they'd probably actually have won 2 of these games out of games 2 through 4. But right now, Tampa is just running rampant on the power play. They're just steamrolling the Stars. So we're going to move on into games 2 through 4. And then, obviously, as we all know, Tampa Bay has won all of them, and they're up 3-1. They're up 3-1, and I think that they're probably going to win the series tonight. I'm going to get this out on Monday, so I don't know. You guys always have that advantage. But let's talk about the series. So, Dallas's Corsi through games 2 through 4 is 46.9%. Again, that's low. That's a little bit better than Detroit. The problem is Tampa Bay's Corsi is 53.1%, so they'd still be hanging out towards the top. And this is where it gets pretty obvious that Tampa Bay is just outshooting them and outplaying them. So, Dallas has got 83 shots through these 3 games. That's 27.7 shots per game. That's better. Game 1 really hurt because even though they won it, they got outplayed real bad. And then Tampa Bay's shots for are 98 with 32.7. It's so bad right now. I just feel like Tampa Bay it's boring hockey. I don't want to be rude, but if you're a fan of any other team and you're not watching these 2 teams play, I like hockey. I love hockey. I love watching hockey, but it just comes down to these weird moments where Dallas will just have like a string of luck and then they'll just take advantage of it. But then Tampa Bay, for the most part, is dominant. It's not a even series. It's just mainly Tampa Bay dominating for the majority of it. And then the scoring chances for are actually tied at 79. But the difference is that Tampa Bay has got more high danger chances at 40, whereas Dallas has 33. So in the past 3 games, Tampa Bay has got 7 more high danger chances, and this is the problem right here that we need to talk about. The problem is that Tampa Bay is 6 for 12 on the series. We're through games 2 through 4. 50%. 50%. That's crazy. That is so bad for Dallas's penalty kill. Whereas Dallas's power play is 1 for 12, 8% through games 2 through 4. The thing is through, these 3 games, 2 through 4, these games, they've got equal opportunities on the power play. 12 and 12, that's tied. I don't know what to say about that. I think it's one of those things that if you're Dallas, you have to take advantage of these power plays. And somebody that I've noticed a lot is Tyler Seguin will just keep firing away. I love Seguin. He's a really fun player to watch. But I think the worry for me is he is, just on this cold streak. I know he got an assist last night. He might actually had 2, but I'm pretty sure he just had 1. And right now, he is not the guy you want to have shooting the puck unless he feels good about it. And another thing is, too, that I've noticed is Dallas seems to hold the puck a little bit too long, especially on power plays. They need to just fire away. Whoever has the puck, I don't care that your big name guys maybe aren't scoring what you would like them to do. The fact of the matter is they're holding the puck too long and they need to just let loose on the power play, because by the time that they fire away, there's already a defender ready to block the shot. There's already somebody there to steal the puck. They've just got to fire away a little bit faster. And then obviously you have to do a better job on the penalty kill. I don't know what's happening right now. I don't know why well, I'll tell you what's happening. Tampa Bay is taking advantage of stupid penalties by Dallas. Dallas has got to be so much smarter right now about the penalties they're taking. The tripping call by Sagan yesterday, that was so stupid. I don't know why that happened. That was not smart. And at the end of the day, I know Dallas is a fiery team and they like to get in the competition's head. But, Tampa Bay is a calm, cool, and collected team. They're, like I've said before, Vegas' older brother where, Vegas might react right away, whereas Tampa Bay will, wait a little bit longer. And then when you think it's all said and done, they're just going to strike back. And then another thing is, last night the Stars were up 2-0. 2-0. And, at the end of the day, they lost 5-4 in overtime. If you're up 2-0 against Tampa Bay, I wouldn't say play prevent hockey and defense hockey, like that prevent style. But the thing is, limit their opportunities. My God, I don't know how many times I would see Tampa get a rush, an odd man rush, and then they'd go after Hudobin. And then again, like I've said before, Hudobin is playing the puck when he probably shouldn't, and it's hurting them because he'll get in a bad spot, and then the next thing you know, he's on his back, and he's getting stuck where he can't get up. And I just think if Tampa Bay shot the puck just a little bit quicker, this would be a bloodbath, a blowout. Dallas, like I said, limit Tampa Bay. Make sure you're actually killing the penalty. 50% is not going to work. You're going to have to, especially this next game, either try not to take dumb penalties, which I don't think you'll be able to do because you seem to have a fetish for it, or you're going to have to kill the penalties. So, Dallas, please, for the love of God, please, in everything that's holy, don't take dumb penalties. And then if you do, why don't you do something called killing the penalty? And yeah, take advantage of the power play. I don't know, I'd love to see Jamie Benn and Tyler Seguin get going and get red hot. That'd be cool. I'd love to see a Game 7. I'm just not feeling it right now. Anyway, that's my take on the Stanley Cup Finals. As we can see, Tampa Bay dominates in Corsi. They lead in high danger chances as well. I believe the scoring chances are pretty similar, but I think that Tampa Bay is just getting better looks, especially games 2 through 4. They have taken over, and their Corsi is obviously very good. If you're in the other team's, defensive end, if you're over there and you're hanging out and you're just firing away, it just seems like Tampa Bay's always in Dallas's end, and I don't think that Dallas is going to win tonight. I don't buy it. I don't feel that they're going to win because, well, they're doing everything wrong right now, it feels like. But anyway, that's my take on the finals. Let's hope Dallas wins. We can talk about maybe next week when I do the next podcast, Dallas hoisting the cup, and we don't have to worry about Lightning fans being awful. But anyway, that's my take on the Stanley Cup Finals. We're going to move on into some league news now. Alright, and to wrap this up, we're going to talk about some league news. And the first topic that I want to talk about today is Marc-Andre Fleury saying that he wants to stay in Vegas for the rest of his career. And I know a lot of people are saying, wow, that is so wholesome and that is great. And I'm not taking a dig at Marc-Andre Fleury. I think he's a great guy. But there's two reasons why I think that he's saying that he wants to stay in Vegas for the rest of his career. One, there's 14 million reasons, as in his two-year $7 million per year contract that's still left. I would love to make $14 million in 2 years as well. So I think that's the first reason. And the second is I think he does like being on a good team. Now with Robin Lehner probably taking over that starting spot if they keep him in, that's just how they roll from here on out, is having Lehner be the starting goalie. If they can re-sign him, then I think Fleury will be okay being the backup. And obviously with the amount of money he's getting paid, I don't see him complaining about it. At the end of the day, I do think he likes Vegas. I do think he loves money as well. Who doesn't? I mean, if you could make $14 million in 2 years and you got to be a backup goalie and you've already won 3 cups and you're a Hall of Famer, why wouldn't you just try to stay there instead of, I don't know, maybe getting stuck in Seattle? And who knows what their expansion team will look like. I definitely don't think it'll be as good as Vegas's. So, that's league news, I guess, but I feel like that one wasn't as crazy. Some people act like, oh my gosh, this was so wholesome and I was so worried he was going to leave. Were you worried that he was going to give up $14 million? Or are you honestly worried that that's how much he was going to give up? I don't know. Obviously, he likes being there because they win. He's kind of like a franchise cornerstone because they're 3 years old. And if you were worried about it, that's fine. I'm not trying to take a dig at you either, but I feel like it was pretty obvious he wanted to stay there. The next thing I want to talk about is the Penguins made a shocking trade, and they traded Patrik Hornqvist for Mike Matheson, and I don't exactly know how to say his name, this next guy that we're going to talk about, and it's not exactly like he's a big name player. Colton Sevior? I'm not sure. The thing is, it does make a lot of sense, I guess, trade-wise. I guess what the Penguins were trying to do was get an extra defenseman that's younger. I guess the problem is his defensive ratings are pretty bad, and he provides a little offense. A lot of people say that he scores big goals in big moments, or gets points in big moments. That one, sure, I guess. I don't know. I mean, Patrik Hornqvist has been with the Penguins for 6 years now, I believe. Won two Stanley Cups, and he is pretty decent defensively, and he still provides some good offense. So it was perplexing, I guess you could say, to trade somebody like that still provides value to the team. I think age is a big concern. And who knows? I mean, who am I to judge Jim Rutherford? He's literally one of the best GMs in the league. I know he makes a lot of questionable decisions, but his decisions usually get results. Now, I will say, a lot of that's probably due to the fact that the Penguins have Crosby, Malkin, they had Fleury. You know, they had a lot of talent, but he was pretty good in Carolina too, so I guess all I have to say about that is he makes questionable decisions and they don't always pay off, but who knows? Maybe he sees something we don't. Also, as much as I hate to say it, Mike Sullivan's a really good coach. The Penguins are a really well-run organization. So maybe they see Hornqvist declining in his play rapidly, and we don't. And they see something they like in Matheson, and I think Sevior was just a little thing to like even out the trade. But that was a crazy trade. When I saw it, I was like, no, that can't be real. And it took 2 days to, finally come out. And a lot of people were saying that Patrik Hornqvist was hiding from management, so they couldn't tell him that he'd been traded. But apparently, he said that once he figured out that the Penguins wanted to trade him, he was excited to go to Florida because, I guess, quote in his words, he was excited to go to a team that really wanted him, whereas the Penguins didn't. So, I don't know. We'll see how it plays out. I don't think it'll be something that backfires historically in some epic proportion on the Penguins, but it was a little bit weird move, a weird trade. But Patrik Hornqvist, I always have liked him when he's played with Nashville and, unfortunately, Pittsburgh. I did like watching him play. So, I like watching him in Florida. I'm not going to lie. I secretly watch Florida Panthers games from time to time because Sergei Bobrovsky, my second favorite Blue Jacket of all time, is the goalie there. And I know he had a rough first season, but, I'm guilty for watching a few Florida Panthers games. I know a lot of people don't watch them, especially go to the games, but I am guilty of watching a few of those games. Anyway, with that being said, let's move on into the final news piece that we can talk about. There's a lot of stuff we could talk about this week, but this one hit a little bit closer to home. And that is the Senators won't be re-signing Craig Anderson. And, I've watched a lot of Senators games. They're an underdog. I like watching small market teams play well. And the Senators had a pretty good stretch there where, they're a fairly competitive team in a small market. And even though they had Eugene Melnyk as an owner, they were competitive. And I hear a lot of people saying Craig Anderson was just the worst, and he had this terrible 2-year stretch. He's 39 years old, and he stinks, and he should be out, and it makes sense. You know what? Craig Anderson was a pretty darn good goalie for the Senators for a pretty darn long time. For a decade he played with them, and there were some stretches where he was legit. Alright? So, if you want to be one of those people that say he should leave because he was bad, look in the mirror and look at the stats. In the 2018-2019 season, Ottawa ranked worst in the league, giving up 35.7 shots per game. Are you kidding me? And then this year they ranked third worst in the league this past season. They gave up 33.6 shots per game. I am so sick and tired of people automatically saying Craig Anderson stinks. You know what? The whole team stinks. Don't just blame it on Craig Anderson. And it makes me sick. And honestly, this is a lip-smacking event because I don't know why these Senators fans are just turning on Craig Anderson. There was a lot of love in the comments, but some of the people were so evil and cruel and horrible. Some of the things they said. Do we not remember this man's wife had cancer a few years ago and he kept playing? So, why don't you think about it for a second before you say something so spiteful and hateful about a guy that gave you 10 years and his heart and his soul to this franchise, and understand that maybe it was a team issue and not just him issue. And I don't know why it just bothered me, but some of those comments were just so heartless. And, Craig Anderson is a great guy. He's given a lot to the community of Ottawa. And the fact that some of these people can just turn their back on him and just say some of these awful things, it doesn't make any sense. It bothers me. How can you be so heartless to somebody that's been around for so long? Honestly, I probably would have let him be the backup. It's not exactly like you're trying to compete this year. You got the 3 and the 5 pick, and you can just let him be the mentor for whoever is starting in net. I don't know who that'll be, but I think it would have been really cool to see Anderson be the backup goalie and to be a mentor. And for all those people, I know it wasn't the majority. It was probably like 1%. But for all those people who are saying those cruel, hateful things about Craig Anderson in those comments, reevaluate what you're saying. This man meant so much to the Senators, and he was a big reason that they were successful that period of time where they had Erik Karlsson, obviously him as well, and some other guys. Think about it before you say something stupid like that, because that was just dumb. But anyway, I hope everybody has a great week. Remember, these guys are players too. Don't be hateful towards them, especially the guys that are good guys. Have a great week. Stay safe from COVID. And I want you to go out there and be as successful as you can. And everybody, enjoy some hockey. Let's hope we have some more hockey to talk about. I don't want Tampa Bay to win tonight. Let's go Dallas. Let's get fired up. Hudobin, just be a brick wall. Goodbye, Brigadiers and Brigadettes, and hockey fans in general. This is your captain signing off. Have a great week.